And now, Division Pro presents the Renaissance of Wrestling.
The following weigh-in is for the lightweight division match. Introducing first, Xander Maddox.
Who is the real X Factor, Xander Maddox? Well, I said it many times before, I'll say it again. It's the risk taker, energetic, athletic, legendary all around the world, and that's what real means.
Official weight, 163 pounds. His opponent, Tomas Bird.
Tomas Bird. I'm a competitor out of Orlando. I train with Rudo's BJJ. I come from a wrestling background and jiu-jitsu background. I don't think Xander is prepared for what I bring to the table in terms of my submission experience. I understand he's a talented amateur wrestler, but I don't think he's ready for what I bring to the table as a competitor.
The weight is 160 pounds.
My heart is in my amateur wrestling. 4 years of just straight high school amateur wrestling, and then USA Wrestling Freestyle for 2 more years. I got a lot to offer. Even though he has his MMA background, I'm gonna welcome you to my world. Now it's amateur versus MMA. Let's see who's gonna take over.
I started training and wrestling when I was 14 years old, and then I transitioned into competing in college for UCF under the club team. And after that, I began training in jiu-jitsu. I think between that experience and my intensity as a competitor, I don't think anybody in Division Pro is ready for me. And I think that I'm going to be the longest reigning lightweight champion this organization is going to see.
Welcome to Division Pro, the Renaissance of Wrestling. We are about to get started in our first matchup here in the lightweight division.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit and is for the lightweight division championship. Introducing first, Xander Maddox.
Coming out first, we have Xander Maddox, the real X Factor. Xander is competing out of Miami, Florida, and he is 1/4 of the Miami Boys, a very well-known faction here in the Southern Florida wrestling scene.
And his opponent, Tomas Bird.
Coming out next, we have Tomas Bird. Tomas says he has been wrestling since 2006. Started Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in 2010, took a little time off, but has come back in the last year. Competed 4 to 5 times, so he is a seasoned veteran when it comes to combat sports.
Introducing first, to my left, standing in at 5'8", 163 pounds, the real X Factor, not Xander Maddox. And his opponent, standing in at 6'1", weighing 160 pounds, Tomas Bird.
The people are ready for the action here at Division Pro. We have a great matchup here of professional wrestling against submission grappling. In Tomas Bird versus Xander Maddox.
I gotta ask you, Blake, the hair on Xander, is that any detriment to this match?
You know, hair coming out like that, I wouldn't always say it is or isn't, but it can start to get in your way if you get trapped in a submission. We see Xander Maddox now has picked up the single leg. Bird does not want to go down, does a fantastic job of getting his leg back and then sprawling out to stop the takedown. Both guys really respecting each other, trying to feel each other out and slowly get themselves to a slightly more dominant position. Right now we see Thomas Byrd as the underhook with the left hand. Maddox did a great job of facing his opponent. One thing about Thomas Byrd, he trains out of Rudo's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, training with the likes of Matt Riddle, Killer Cross, Shayna Baszler, and KZ, who we'll see later tonight in our main event. Again, Xander Maddox in on the single leg, but Travis Byrd doing a fantastic job of applying pressure to his opponent's head. And we see our first rope break of the evening and a show of respect between these two competitors. So Xander Maddox calls himself the real X Factor, and he says the real stands for risk taker, energetic, athletic, and legendary. And he plans to show all of the above tonight in his Division Pro debut. Again, Xander Maddox goes in for a shot, but we see Thomas Byrd stuff it a little bit. Looks like he's trying to move around to the back, but Xander Maddox does not want his opponent behind him. And they get caught in the ropes. Again, a great transition between both competitors.
Got to ask you, was he just turning with the move, or does he know something that I don't?
So when you get underneath the guy when you're shooting, we saw Thomas Byrd trying to go around and behind his opponent so we can get it. Oh, we see Thomas Byrd wrapping up a double wrist lock transition, does not get it. However, if he continues to utilize that submission attack during takedowns, we may see him go home tonight with a submission win. We're seeing great clinch work out of both competitors. Again, Xander Maddox goes for the single, and Byrd gets flashy. Ends up coming down with a sweep, looking for a leg, and a little bit of frustration out of Xander Maddox's face there.
I tell you, he needs to keep his head in the game. That frustration will get you out of your zone every single time.
You know, absolutely right. And I think one of the reasons we're seeing that is he's gotten in several times for takedowns, even gotten the leg off the ground. But he was not able to finish it, or he'd get, or he was unable to finish it, or he got caught in a bottom position with a potential submission attempt. And you can see Xander Maddox really interested now in getting that takedown. As we mentioned, some frustration. But now we're really seeing him hit the gas pedal and trying to get some top position to implement his game.
I got to ask you, too, is it almost like he's tried 5 things that he had on his mind to try, they just didn't work?
You know, I wouldn't necessarily say he's tried 5 different things. He's tried the same thing 3-4 times. That's gotten him close several times, but each time eventually either getting shut down or putting himself in a position where his opponent's throwing up a submission. Ooh, a double wrist lock sweep. I'd like to see Thomas Byrd continue to utilize that double wrist lock grip. We've seen him twice now get a sweep out of it, lose it during the transition. However, he's still throwing up attack after attack. Whoa, flying armbar by Thomas Byrd. Let's see if he gets to the rope break. Wow, what a moment. What an attack by Thomas Byrd. That could have been it. Earlier, I was talking to Thomas before the matchup, and he said, I'm not a pro wrestler. I'm not an entertainer. I came here to tap somebody out, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. And we are 5 minutes into this 15-minute matchup.
I think a lot of it has to do with conditioning, too. I see Xander not breathing hard at all. I do see his opponent taking a few deep breaths there.
So especially with 15 minutes nonstop on the clock, conditioning is a massive thing here. Both guys very athletic, not breathing too heavy yet, but it does take a lot out of your gas tank to continually shoot takedowns, particularly if you're unable to land that takedown and get a top position. Xander back on a leg, gets the takedown, but tangled up in the ropes.
You know, that's the second time he's taken him down like that. He's trying to figure it out.
You know, he's getting closer and closer to it. That time we saw him actually get spurred down. I'd like to see him when he starts setting these up, putting himself in a position where he's not as close to the ropes. Again, Xander gets in. Thomas Bird now from a front headlock position, keeps himself great positioning to walk him out of the corner. Now fighting for a guillotine from the bottom. Oh, and now an armbar transition. And the rope break comes in. What a heartbreak for Tomas Bird, who again was very close to potentially getting a submission win here at Division Pro. You know, we're seeing some frustration on him, but I wouldn't say that he's underperforming or doing bad. I wouldn't even say he's immensely being outclassed by his opponent. It's a high-level submission grappling match, and here the fans are ready for more. Xander again coming in, digging for the underhook. I'd like to see him potentially go for a knee tap here. Tomas Bird clears the arm, tries to get the back. Oh, and a triangle choke, and they are dead center in the ring here, ladies and gentlemen. This could potentially, switches to an omoplata, back to the triangle, but they're going to be in the ropes. Tomas Bird getting closer and closer to a potential submission. And the crowd here at Division Pro are behind Xander Maddox. Beautiful. So that's the second time that we've seen Tomas Bird utilize his sweep, and now you can see him wrapping up that left leg of Xander Maddox, which is a very dangerous position to be in if he's able to secure that sweep takedown. Ooh, and no respect, waving the fans and the opponent off here at Division Pro. Tomas Bird wants all the smoke. When he's waiting inside the middle of the ring for Xander Maddox, who's carefully working his way in. Tomas Bird teasing the leg a little bit, almost jokingly going to give it to Xander. Xander dives in and takes that leg. Tomas Bird doing a great job of being heavy pressure on his opponent's head. And Xander Maddox makes his way behind Tomas Bird. Let's see if he's able to utilize him.
Not sure, Blake, but I think the crowd's a little biased here.
You know, potentially a little biased, but what people may not have noticed, a small detail there, was Tomas Bird had the double wrist lock wrapped up there at the end of that takedown. They were stuck in the ropes, but again, continually looking to try and land a submission hold during transitions. And we have 6.5 minutes left here in our first matchup. Tomas Bird doing a good job of utilizing his opponent's forward pressure.
Blake, how would you rate this so far on each one of their skills? And we know what they have. We know the tools in their box.
You know, I would say that it's been a very close back and forth thing so far, where we've seen Xander Maddox going for a lot more takedowns, a little bit more aggressive, but then we're seeing Tomas Bird throw up submission attempts in there and so forth. And we're almost seeing some frustration out of Xander that makes me wonder if he feels like he's losing. It's been, another scissor sweep. May end up in the ropes. We see Tomas Bird looking for that leg.
And I must say this about Xander. How many times has he been hit with the same move over and over?
You know, that scissor sweep, I believe that's the third time that we've seen that. And we are seeing a whole lot of cockiness out of Tomas Bird, who I think at this point in the matchup deserves some of that. He's been doing a fantastic job of staying on his feet, avoiding takedowns, and even throwing up submission attempts when he can. Again, looking for that scissor sweep. The way that he has his arms controlled, he's gets on his opponent's back here. I'd like to see him drag him away from the ropes. And we have 5 minutes left in our first matchup here at Division Pro. I really feel like we're seeing Tomas Bird starting to pick up the gas pedal and looking for finishes. Not just grappling anymore, but really trying to finish his opponent. One thing about I'd like to see him roll his opponent back away from the cage, or Beautiful cradle by Tomas Bird, some of the first collegiate-style wrestling we've seen thus far on the ground in the matchup. Had they not been so close to the ropes, it's definitely possible that that may have been a finish. Xander Maddox doing a great job of staying just at the edge of the circle, which in my opinion keeps him significantly safer against some of these submission attempts that we're seeing Tomas Bird throw up. I'd like to, takedown, almost a small package style pin. Gets behind Alexander Maddox again. I can't see, he does have a hook in, but tangled in the ropes again.
Now, I talked to Tomas before the match. He actually is a massage therapist, and he told me he takes his jiu-jitsu along with what he knows about the muscles and actually uses that to his advantage.
So having a anatomical and physiological understanding of how the body works will make you that much better at being able to attack the body. Great positional adjustment there by Tomas Bird, who's now trying to get his opponent back to the middle. Oh, another small package attempt by Xander Maddox.
Whoa, Tomas in the ropes that time.
Now we have 3 minutes left in this matchup. Both guys have been getting some back and forth. I give a slight edge thus far to Tomas Bird on these submission attempts and how close he's gotten on some of them, but we're seeing Xander Maddox starting to pick up the pace a little bit and hit the gas pedal. Both competitors have about 2.5 more minutes to get a win here at Division Pro.
Yeah, I've actually seen Xander glance up at the
Whoa,
crowd.
scissor sweep in the middle of the ring. There's some space. Whoa, we might have a tap here. He has what we call the 911, which the legs are and they transition back. Doing a great job by Tomas Bird, getting the submission win with an inside heel hook. And the fans here at Division Pro might not like it, but Tomas Bird does not mind one bit. Coming home with the submission win in the back, he told me he's predicting a leg lock submission win, and he gets it.
Definitely had that on his mind. He took it. I don't know if Xander even saw that one coming. That was out of the blue.
Yeah, the way that he did that scissor sweep transition for the takedown puts you in such a finalizing position to then follow up with the heel hook and get the submission. And when a guy gets a hold of your legs and that much of their body wrapped around it, it becomes extremely difficult to get that leg back and extremely easy for them to start turning in ways that it's not supposed to turn.
Blake, I don't understand much about the techniques that are involved. Does his height have anything to do with it? Because he seemed to almost lock up and then step way back away from him, which is something Xander never did. Xander was always close.
So being a little bit longer absolutely helps, especially when you're at range standing me, at range where we're not tied up. Because now with my longer arms, I can collar tie guy, I can grab a leg, a knee, a foot. What, you know, if I drop down, a variety of other things where my weapons are significantly longer. So for me, I prefer to be taller than my opponent when I'm at range. The thing is, when a guy gets inside and gets double underhooks and things like that, now my long limbs don't work as well for me. So it's kind of a give and take thing, you know, it's a little bit of both. There's not a right or a wrong answer, and that's what I love about combat sports, Ed.